Hello everyone, and welcome to a new video where we will continue learning information about these fascinating animals, the dinosaurs. Also, as always, to gather more information, we will use the Book of Dinosaurs and other prehistoric animals, since inside we have a lot of interesting information about all of them. For example, here it tells us about the great Spinosaurus. We are looking at a mother with several of her babies. They were characterized by this large crest. We will talk more about Spinosaurus later. But here in the Dino Facts, it specifies that it could reach about 17 meters in length. Pretty impressive, huh? Well, now let's open the box to see all the ones we have yet to discover. For now, we're looking at a flying reptile, a giant of the skies. And look, there are a lot of different figures. Let's take them out to learn their names and their characteristics. So now, let's see which one we get to know first. And it looks like we have a little baby. It's just hatching from inside its egg. We can see part of its body still inside the shell, while the top part has already been completely broken. It looks like it's a herbivorous dinosaur because of the shape of its head. I think it's a large triceratops, characterized by having a crown-shaped skull and 3 large horns on the top of its body. Here, since it's just a baby, it hasn't developed the upper horns very much yet. Also, we can see the strong beak that's so characteristic of some herbivores, which they use to dig in the ground in search of food. Also, I love the figure because it's soft. It's made of plastic, but we can squish it, and on the bottom there's a speaker to emit light and sound. I like it because it lights up in different colors: red, blue, yellow, and green. Super cool. Thank you for that. So, we'll leave the first baby here and continue with a different one. Wow. And this time, we have one of the first great carnivores that ever existed on planet Earth. This is the great Dilophosaurus, characterized by the crests it had on the top of its head, which are very reminiscent of a rooster's comb. Also, an interesting fact about this dinosaur is that its crests were different depending on whether it was male or female. As you can see, it had a jaw typical of carnivores, with large, sharp teeth to chew meat very well. Also, it was a type of theropod. It walked on its hind legs since it was bipedal, while the front legs were also quite long, and it used them to immobilize its prey and also to help itself while eating, bringing the meat to its mouth. Impressive. This type of dinosaur, when it reached adulthood, could be about 9 meters long and approximately 2 meters tall. It lived on planet Earth during the Jurassic period, more than 155 million years ago. Let's continue with another one. And it looks like we have another big carnivore, but this time, I think the figure we got is very special. We can see that it's made of hard plastic, but we notice some separations. What?
Does that mean it looks like this dinosaur is able to transform into something else?
For now, let's talk about its features. As you can see, it's a big Tyrannosaurus rex. We know this by the shape of its body, its mouth, and a key clue is its front legs. Take a look. It only has 2 small fingers, very small compared to the rest of its body, which could reach about 14 meters in length. And we're going to try to see it, to transform it. As you can see, all its legs are jointed. So let's see if we can open it up. It looks like it transforms into a robot. Here we can already see the robot's head. The hind legs of our T-Rex are going to be part of its arms. Look, do you see? Also, the robot's details come in purple. These would be its legs, or rather, what would be its legs? Here's the result. An amazing Tyrannosaurus Rex transformed into a robot. Here we can see that the T-Rex's head remains, but on top we see the robot's head with some metallic tones, its fists, and these big horns, which are actually the tail of the Tyrannosaurus rex. Very cool. The best part is we can transform it as many times as we want. Let's set it aside since it can stand up, and continue discovering new dinosaurs. And this time we have a herbivorous dinosaur. This is one of my favorites, since it's an armored dinosaur called Ankylosaurus. As you can see, it's soft and we can stretch it. The inside is filled with cork balls, which makes it very relaxing. Also, we can appreciate all the main features of the great Ankylosaurus. For example, it had a completely armored upper body, with super thick and tough skin, almost impenetrable. But in addition, it was fortified by all these large spikes, and it also had these spikes on the sides of its head. In addition, it used this to prevent large carnivores from biting it, but it could also defend itself effectively with its powerful tail swing. As you can see, it has a large ball or club at the tip, which it used to swing from side to side and defend itself from predators. As you can see, it was a quadrupedal dinosaur, and it was also called the armadillo of the Cretaceous. Here we already had an Ankylosaurus, so let's put it next to it, as if it were a big herd. We'll move on to a different one. A figure unlike the previous ones. This one has fewer details and is smaller, but we can use it already. We can see that it's a long-necked dinosaur. By the shape of its head, we already know it's a great Brachiosaurus. It had a long neck and very large, sturdy front legs. Its body was gigantic, and it needed to eat tons of food and drink hundreds of liters of water a day to stay satisfied. Impressive, right? They lived on planet Earth during the Jurassic period, either in groups or in herds. Next little animal, wow. This time we don't have any kind of dinosaur, but rather a type of reptile. It's a snake. I love it. Also, it looks like it's life-sized and we can stretch it a lot. If we bring it closer, we can see the detail of its scaly skin and the different colors it has. Look, we can see its eyes and also its mouth. What I like the most is that we can stretch it and then throw it as far as we can. Impressive. It almost knocked down all our dinosaurs. There are hundreds of different species of snakes. Some are even gigantic, while others are very small. Here we can see that the tip of its tail is thinner than the rest of its body. We'll leave it here and move on to a different one. This time we see a dinosaur head, but it's clearly not just any dinosaur. It's a big Carnivores, and we figured it out because of the horns it has on the top of its head. Also, if we squeeze this head, it spits out Orbeez balls of many colors. We can see the jaw of the big Carnivores. Also, the sides of its skull were flattened to lighten the weight of its head. According to experts, it used these small horns, located above its eyes, to blind its opponents. In other words, it would deliver powerful headbutts to drive the tips of its horns into the eyes of other dinosaurs. And in this way, it would blind them and gain the upper hand, or win. Another one. Here we continue with a different one, and we have another type of reptile. It seems like it's not a dinosaur, but rather a crocodile or an alligator. I'm not really sure what the difference between the two is, but I'm sure all of you probably know. As you can see, it's super soft. Inside, we also have transparent Orbeez, and we can see all the physical parts it has. As you can see, it has 4 legs and can walk on land by dragging its body with these 4 legs, but it's also an excellent swimmer. It loves to dive into the water, and when it's cold and needs to warm up, it comes out to the surface to sunbathe. They can stay still for hours, like stones or rocks, without moving so their bodies can warm up. But without a doubt, The most impressive thing is its large, wide jaw full of sharp teeth. Once it closes its jaw on prey, escape is nearly impossible. We'll leave it next to the snake. We still have more dinosaurs to see. Look, we have a much smaller figure compared to the others. I really like it because it comes on top of this platform with vegetation. This is a Therizinosaurus, a herbivorous dinosaur that fed on plants, leaves, and grass. Is that what it used its big claws for? Well, actually, it used them for two things. First, to break the leaves off the vegetation so it could eat them and feed itself properly. But it also used its claws to wave them quickly in front of its opponents. In addition, it was a feathered dinosaur. Its entire body was covered with feathers. We can see the detail on its tail. I like this figure. Here is another small figure. Oops. Look, how cool! We can already see that this is a little baby of the great Spinosaurus. At the beginning of the video, we already saw some information about the Spinosaurus in the encyclopedia. Also, I like this figure because it can open and close its jaw and it's a finger trap. No, let me go, dinosaur! The most characteristic thing about the Spinosaurus is that it loved to dive into the water. It was an excellent swimmer because it loved to feed on marine animals. In addition, it used its sail of spines to regulate its body temperature. If it was hot, it would dive into the water and cool its whole body, using its large sail of spines to attract cold or heat, and in this way, regulate its blood, the temperature of its blood. When, for example, it was very cold, it would come out onto the land and position its sail of spines toward the sun, and all that heat would radiate through its body. Very interesting. As you can see, if we open the jaw, we can even see the detail of its tongue and palate. Super beautiful. Now we have just one dinosaur left to see. A figure quite unlike the previous ones. Look, this is the great Giganotosaurus, also a super predator that lived on planet Earth, comparable to the great Tyrannosaurus Rex. I like the figure because it's articulated. Look at the jaw. We can open and close it. It also had a large crest of small spikes running all along the dorsal part of its body to the end of its tail. It was a bipedal dinosaur, and on its front legs it had 3 small fingers with claws. And now we've finished today's video. Here are all the animals we've seen today. If you liked it and want to see more videos like this, you can help me by giving me a super like, a thumbs up. And I invite you to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos. And now, I'll say goodbye to you all. See you in the next video with more amazing animals. Goodbye. Hello everyone, and welcome to a new video where we are going to meet a lot of different dinosaurs. We will learn their names and their characteristics. They are all hiding inside this mysterious box, where we can already see a big Stegosaurus looking for food in the middle of the forest. Let's see which ones are inside. Look, there are many different dinosaurs. The best part is that the figures are different sizes and textures, and some, like this one, come with light-up eyes and special sounds. So we're going to learn a lot of things, and let's see which one comes out first. Well, it looks like we have a giant among giants. A super predator well known for the large crest of spines along the top of its body is called Spinosaurus. The Spinosaurus could reach about 17 meters in length as an adult. As you can see here, we can notice that it walked on all fours, although in reality its front legs were smaller than its hind legs. Therefore, it could also walk bipedally, using only its 2 hind legs and putting all its weight on the back. Also, its jaw was impressive. As you can see, it was quite elongated and full of sharp teeth. It really resembles the jaw of modern crocodiles, but on a gigantic scale. In addition, Spinosaurus loved to eat fish and marine animals, so it always dove into the water in search of food.
We've already met the first one. Let's see which is next.
We have another carnivorous dinosaur. Do you know what it means to be a carnivore? It means it ate meat, right? Here we have the mighty Giganotosaurus. I really like this figure because, besides being large, look, it can move its back legs and front legs, which had 3 fingers with 3 strong claws, to be able to eat all the meat it found. Its jaw can be opened, revealing all its sharp teeth and also the detail of its tongue. As you know, the Giganotosaurus was very large. Its hind legs were very big and robust. And if you notice, we can see that the entire upper dorsal part was covered with small spikes, forming a large row or line. Also, the sides of its head were flattened to lighten the weight of its skull. Impressive. I really like it. Another one over here. Let's continue with a different one. Oh, over here I see a much smaller figure. And also, it's not a dinosaur. It's a marine reptile. It swims out of the box toward us. This time it's called Mosasaurus. I'm sure many of you had already recognized it. Also, I love the figure, because if you press on the back, it's a finger biter. Ah, I need help! It's biting my finger! Opening it reveals details of its tongue and teeth. As you can see, it had 4 large fins. The front fins were slightly wider than the back ones. This allowed them to swim at high speed. It also had a tail, although it wasn't very long. In the figure, we can also move it from right to left. The Mosasaurus fed on large prey that it found in the Great Ocean. We'll leave it here so we can continue learning about new species. Here we have the first herbivorous dinosaur that appears, and also along with Parasaurolophus. This one is one of my favorites. It's called Pachycephalosaurus. It was characterized by having a super hard skull. It's like it had a helmet or armor on its head. As you can see, its skull was as hard as a rock, and it was also covered with large spikes at the back, so it could defend itself by charging hard. Bam, bam, bam. To find out more about the Pachycephalosaurus, let's take a look at the Amazing Dinosaurs book, exactly on pages 116 and 117. We have a lot of information about it. In the dino card, it tells us that it could reach approximately 8 meters in length and weigh about 2 tons, or in other words, around 2,000 kilos. It was omnivorous. It ate plants, fruits, but also some insects. Also, we have a real-life photograph showing the complete fossilized skull remains of the Pachycephalosaurus. We can see what the top part of its head looked like and observe the cavities where its eyes were located. And we can also see how its teeth were tiny, since it didn't need large teeth. As in the case of Nas, it is said that it had very good eyesight and that it lived approximately 66 million years ago, exactly in the Cretaceous period. And now let's continue with another different specimen. Let's see which one we have, and look at this curious dinosaur. It's a dinosaur that, as you can see, had a long neck. It was one of the long-necked ones. It was quadrupedal. It walked on all 4 legs. And the best part is that at the bottom it specifies the scientific name. Its name is Amargasaurus. It also had a long tail, just like the Diplodocus. I think it would also use it to defend itself, using it like a whip to hit its opponents. However, what stands out the most is the large crest of spikes or spines it had. It went from its head all the way down to about the middle of its tail. And if you look at the top, it seems like the crest was divided into 2 parts. Very interesting. This figure is not articulated. It's made of rigid plastic. However, I really like it because of the details. We can even see its jaw with some details of the teeth. You know it didn't need a very large jaw, since it only fed on plants. It was herbivorous. Another one over here, and let's continue with a different one. Another plant-eating dinosaur emerges from our box. Also, this one is very famous and well-known, since throughout history, many fossil remains of the great Stegosaurus have been found. As you can see, what stands out the most is the large crest it had, full of bony plates, which it used to defend itself from predators. Because if a carnivore came along, it was hard for it to sink its teeth in, since it had these bony plates for protection. As you can see, they were bigger and taller in the central part, but they started from its head and went almost to the end of its tail. It ended in 4 large spikes that it used defensively, as you know, swinging them from side to side to protect itself. Its head was very small compared to the rest of its body. And we get the articulated figure. We can move the head and the legs. I like that, since we can put it in different positions. For example, when it needed to eat leaves from the branches of trees, it would put all its weight on the back and climb up the trunk of the tree so it could eat. Very interesting, right? Friends, Stegosaurus lived on Earth in the Jurassic period over 155 million years ago. I especially like the figure because of its colors. One more over here and now. We only have one figure left to see, but it's an impressive figure with a super predator. As you can see, this dinosaur is characterized by its large jaw full of teeth and the small horn it had on top. Also, we can make special movements, and it lets out a great roar. Its front legs are articulated and can rotate 360 degrees. I really like that a lot. Carnivores used these small legs to immobilize their prey, or even to help themselves while eating. This large carnivorous dinosaur is called Rajasaurus. We'll leave it here for now, and that's it for today's video. As you can see, we've created a true Jurassic World. What I like most about having these figures is that we can create thousands of different stories. We just have to let our imagination run wild. Also, if you like this video, you can help me out by giving me a super like, a thumbs up, and I invite you to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos. And now, I'll say goodbye to you all. See you in the next video with more amazing dinosaurs.